Dalton Smith from Home Projects Consulting. Once again, I want to welcome you to another video. Today I have something really special. You're going to like it. It is PEX plumbing. I don't know how much you know about this. I've got a little bit here. Here's some PEX pipe. This is available at your local hardware store or online. This is cold. This is hot, of course, blue and red. There's also a white that you can use some, but I don't use it very much. So anyway, here's what it looks like. This is a half-inch PEX. They do make it in 3/4. They make it in 1 inch as well, but what you mostly use for residential applications is half-inch PEX. So what I want to do is kind of give you an example of what you would use it for. If you were remodeling a bathroom or a kitchen, you would have most likely copper coming up through your bathroom slab or your kitchen wall, and you may want to convert, and then you ask yourself, why do I want to convert? PEX is a really good product. It saves a lot of time over copper. It's really inexpensive compared to copper. You don't have to solder the connections. So this is an old soldered connection. We all know what that looks like. I took this out of a house built in like 1950 or something. This is the only piece of copper I could find. That's horrible. But anyways, so this is what you would have. You know, you would have this piece of copper. Ignore this. This is a dog ear for a shower. But here's a piece of copper pipe here. So normally you would have to, let me get into my box here. I've got my plumbing box here. So normally you would cut your old pipe, you would solder on a new fitting here, and then your new pipe would come out, and you would make your angles, you know, solder on everything here. But nowadays I suggest converting to PEX. PEX is plastic, it's flexible. If you go too far it will bend, but it does flex. See, it goes both directions. I have heard that PEX will blow up to like 5 times its size if it freezes. I've never seen that, but I have seen PEX that was exposed to freezing weather with water in it, and I have seen striping on it, but it did not burst, and copper pipe does burst. So I've seen it do really well. The other thing is that with PEX, when you, like, if you, let's say you were going to use a butt connector here. It goes in like this, and you had a long run of PEX. I want to show you how easy this is to cut. So with a copper pipe, you would have to use, you know, one of the copper pipe cutters. But with PEX here, this is a sharp razor. This isn't my good razor, so any razor will do. Look here, we're just going to hold it here. Watch your thumb, okay? And I'm just going to put a little pressure against my thumb. Watch how easily this cuts, guys. Look how easily that's going through there. It's already halfway through. Watch this. Look how easy that is. A nice cut there. You can clean it up a little bit if you want to. And now look here. Look how easy this is. You just put in your connector, put on your other piece, and of course I'm going to show you the connectors that go to this, but that's literally how easy that is. Any connector would do here. Look, I have a T here, and it's like Legos. It goes together really easily. So that's why PEX saves you time. That's kind of how I fell in love with PEX. And then I saw how durable it was. I mean, time after time after time I build these showers, and nothing happens. And when you solder, you kind of, I mean, it's a good connection. It's a long-lasting connection, but still, there's a security in PEX. You'll see when I'll crimp one for you, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a really good product. I want to tell you there are 3 different types of connectors for PEX. I only have one here because I don't buy the others. So let's start with the one I don't use, which is, it's called a Shark Bite. Now there is a Shark Bite brand of PEX that is a good brand. In fact, this is a Shark Bite tubing here, okay? And there are Shark Bite rings that I use, but when PEX first came out, there was this fitting called Shark Bite, and what you do is you would just take your PEX pipe, and the Shark Bite fitting would just go over the PEX, and it had a rubber O-ring in it. Still does. People like them because they're fast, but I can't tell you how many remodel jobs I've been on where people have used a Shark Bite connection, and again, not the name brand, but the style of fitting, for a permanent solution. They leak. They seal with O-rings, and O-rings leak. So you just can't. It's good to keep a Shark Bite connection in your box if there's like there's an emergency, you know, like you have to stop the water flow right now. Bam, you just pop that on there, and it's going to buy you months probably. But you can put it on there, and then you can remove those as well. So they have an application, and I usually have one in my box, but actually I got on another job where I had to use it, and I wore it out because I use them over and over. But don't use them permanently. Okay, so that's the sharp bite connection. There's another connection that looks like a hose clamp that you would use in automotive applications, and it crimps down with a little pair of pliers. It's a kind of a stainless steel looking ring. The problem with those is that they snap. They're held together just like a I'll put a picture on it so you can see it on here, but they snap together, and there's just this one little clip that holds the whole thing together, and after a while they pop. I've seen it a lot. I've had to fix those repairs, and when PEX fittings fail, I mean, you know how quickly water comes out of a pipe. It's bad. So I stay away from those. But the fitting I do use is not expensive, not any more expensive than any other fitting, but it's this copper ring right here, okay? And look, here's the PEX fitting. I mean, the PEX pipe, it goes right over the PEX pipe here. They make them 1/2 inch, 3/4, and so let's say here, so here's that piece of pipe that I cut. Oh, you can see it right here. See how that goes on there? So there are these little ribs in the PEX fitting, okay? So I would just take this guy, put him on here, put my fitting in, and then I would just make sure that this ring crimped down somewhere in this fitting. Now this is a solid piece of copper, so it's a timeless piece of metal, and it's a compression style fitting, and I'll show you the tool that I use to do this. I'll actually show you how it's done, but first I want to show you a couple PEX fittings, okay? So this is the butt splice connector, okay? This fitting right here is the same as this one. It goes right in the end, and that's how you eliminate or stop a PEX pipe. Look how tight that is. Look how good that does. Goodness. Oh gosh. So here's a threaded PEX fitting. We use those a lot on showers. Okay. This is a dog ear. This is what a shower head would come out of, right? You would screw this to the 2x4s, and then the water would squirt right out of there. This is the fitting that actually goes over the copper pipe, so when the copper is coming out of the ground, you would have to solder this on there, and then you would convert to PEX right here. So this is the copper to PEX conversion piece here. And PEX also has ready-made faucet or whatever pieces, flow pieces. This is a 3/8 compression to 1/2 inch PEX with a 1/4 turn valve. I use these a lot. 1/4 turn saves a lot of time if there's ever an issue, a toilet that pops, you don't have to screw it. You just turn it off, a little 1/4 turn. That's him right there. You can just pick those up at your local hardware store. And again, it's the same application. You're just going to slide your ring on, slide that PEX in there, and crimp it down, okay? Now I'm not going to crimp him because that's a good piece. That's going back in the box. But I will crimp another piece. So let me show you the tool that you use for PEX, okay? So this is him, comes in a box. You can see I've used this thing for, I think I bought this 6 years ago, okay? Let's open this up. Right? Let's turn this around here. Here we go. Oh, there's the tool right there, okay? So here is the crimp tool. This is what we're going to use. This is for 1 inch, or no, that's, yeah, 1 inch pipe, 3/4 inch pipe. That's 1/4 inch pipe. I have the 1/2 inch fitting in here right now. This is a sizing gauge. I'll show you how that's used. And this tool right here, there's a little adjustment here where you have to adjust this a little bit. I've only had to do it once, but it's there if you need it. So I'm going to set this down. So first, if you were doing a PEX job and you said, man, is this 1/2 inch or is this 1 inch or what is this? So this guy tells you, sure enough, that's 1/2 inch, right? Not 1/4, not 3/4. So that's what that does, okay? Now, here's this guy right here. He's pretty heavy. I usually just slide him into my tool belt when I'm working. So this is a compression tool. Who makes this? I picked this up at Lowe's. doesn't even have a name on it, but man, it has been a really, really wonderful tool. I've worked this thing to death. Literally no name on the box. Okay, whatever. So this opens up. You can see it's kind of got a, there you see the compression there. So when it opens, you can slide these corner pieces up right here and take these out. And look how rusty that is. That's done a lot of plumbing. And you just pop in the piece that you want. Okay, we're doing 1/2 inch PEX, so I'm just going to put this guy back in. Yeah, that's in there good. Okay, so this guy, you get him on there and then you squeeze, bam, and it's instantaneous. Okay, so here we go. It's good to have a helper with this kind of stuff, but you can do it by yourself. So let's say we were going to connect these two pieces of pipe. Okay, so we would get a crimp ring and put it on here. I got to get another crimp ring. Excuse me, just a second. We would get another crimp ring here. Okay, put the PEX pipe in between. I mean, not the PEX pipe, but put the crimp rings where they're going to be on the area. You can see how that's right about right in the middle there. Okay. Now, the only funny part about these is that they can slide a little bit. But you're gonna put your tool on here. I hope I can do this and show you guys how this works. You put your tool on here. I have done this by myself for years and years and years. It just takes a little doing, okay? Now, he's in there. And then you just crimp it down. There it is. Look at that. That dude is done. So you can see there's the normal fitting right here. I mean the uncompressed fitting, and then you can see right here where it actually like crimped that booger down. Look how you can see how it's like, see how that hose has kind of popped up a little bit there? You can tell it's got pressure on it. Man, I'm telling you, like, it is on there, man. It is really on there. The other cool thing about PEX is if your angle isn't just right, you can still move the fitting. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So look, let me get a 90 here. So let's say we had to put a 90, and this is a big advantage over copper. So I'm going to crimp this 90, okay? Here we go again. I'm going to make sure it's halfway there. One-handed here. Make sure it's halfway there, okay? Here we go. Oop, 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 oop. Let's get him over. Gosh, I'm trying to look at the camera and do this, like making it look harder than it actually is. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? There it is. See it in there? See how that works? Just crimps it down a little bit. Pop it loose. Look how that's stuck in there. There it is. So let's say we did that. I'm going to use this one here. And we were like, oh man, our angle's kind of wrong. You can actually take PEX and turn that. Ooh, it's tight. There you go. You can kind of turn that fitting and turn this pipe a little bit if you needed to move it a little bit, you know. And PEX will let you do that, which is an awesome feature of PEX. Now the only other thing I wanted to tell you is that when PEX comes out of a wall, so this is kind of flimsy. I guess maybe I'll tell you two more things. First thing is that PEX will bend a little, but it'll kink if you try to bend it like, gosh, if you're trying to do like a 90 in a short run, it'll bend. Now, like if PEX was here and I didn't have a 90, instead of trying to bend this 90 degrees, I would loop and go through. That's kind of how you turn PEX. If it's a tight turn, you got to use a 90, but if you don't want to use a 90, you got to loop and then come around, loop and come around, okay? Does that make sense? Because if you bend it too much, I'll show you. If you bend it too much, it will kink. Did you see when that happened? Watch this, we'll do it again the other way. So let's say I wanted to bend it, and then you see it kinks. And I hate that. You can see the white there where it kind of stressed it, and I don't install it once it's stressed like that. I just start over. So anyways, if you need help making a turn, they make this guy right here. It's dirty. They make it in white and they make it in black. Okay, I usually use the black ones. I don't know why, I just do. So what the PEX does is it goes in here, it goes behind here, and it snaps in here, Gosh, usually the PEX is a lot longer than this. That's easier. Okay, edit. There it goes. Good Lord. And it makes the turn. Okay, that took a little doing because it's so short. If you have more pegs, it's not nearly that hard. But that was a short piece of pegs, and that was really hard to do. So, but that keeps the pegs, that lets the pegs turn, and it keeps it from breaking and crimping. You see here, you can take this and screw it into a stud, secure it to the wall where it's nice and tight. These also, like if you're coming out of your wall, like by the toilet, like you would, where's my fitting? Right here. So, since PEX is flexible, if you don't want the pipe to wiggle and wobble or get broken, you use one of these, and just this would just be even with the sheetrock. And then when you put this in, it's, you know, this is screwed to the wall, this is right behind the sheetrock right here, so all you see is this little piece right here, just enough to crimp, and then it's really solid, it's really strong. It would be the same thing in a shower. If you're coming out of the shower wall, you're gonna put this guy here. It's really gonna give you a lot of stability in your wall, not to mention this is gonna be screwed to the 2x4. Okay, so that's what these guys are for. That's really about it. If you have any more questions, please email me at dalton@homeprojectsconsulting.com. Visit the website, homeprojectsconsulting.com. We have a Facebook page, Home Projects Consulting. Yeah, give me some questions, give me some emails. If you need any help with your project, that's the whole point of Home Projects Consulting. Let's do a call, let's do an interview, let's get your project set up, and I would love to walk through your DIY home remodel, home building project with you as your contractor or consultant on demand. Well, it's good to see you. I hope that helped. I hope to see you next time, and good luck on your project.